well, he had a domestic goddess for his first wife of 30 years, who was a beautiful, beautiful soul. And the reason I was with him is because she came to me when she died and she said, I wrote everything down for Frank, everything. What to do with it, literally. She had signs in the cupboards, on the groceries, on the washing machines, everywhere. What to do when I died, how to do this, how to handle this, what to do this, where these bills are, what to do here, blah, 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 blah. But she forgot to tell them where her blue rubber boots that their daughter loved her whole life were. And she knew he'd never find them. So the day she died, she came to me, knock, knock, Donna, I'm dead. I said, oh, Debbie, it was about time. And she said, yeah. She was dying for 14 years, and the last 4 years were hell on earth for her because she chose it to be, and she knew it. But she was flying high when she chose to go. But she didn't want anybody to forget the blue boots, and she knew that Frank would never find them. So she said, I know you can do this. Just call him up and tell him where the boots are. Bye. See ya. She was gone, just like that. I'm going, oh, Lord. Now, Frank is a lay minister and the deacon in the United Church in Pincher Creek. He's a very, very decent, very humble, very kind, very British, very black and white man. There are no gray areas. Colors are something you see in a balloon, right? He's a mechanical engineer, and he's really good at it. And he's a minister, and he's really good at it. But there are no gray areas. So I think, how am I going to tell this man, who I don't know very well? I knew his wife very well. We were in the same Rotary Club together, as was Frank. But we didn't socialize together because my partner at the time and Debbie did not like each other. In fact, they loathed each other. So we didn't socialize together. So Debbie and I got together outside, and they were clients in my agency. And then I moved away. My mom was dying, and I went back to Salt Spring Island to help my sister. They had a business together with handicapped women. And so I went back to help with that and her transition. And then I moved to Grand Prairie, as far away in Alberta as you can be in Pincher Creek. And then I moved to Calgary, which was a little bit closer. And then Debbie died. And I thought, okay, so I tried to pick up the phone a few times to call Frank in the first 48 hours, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it because I thought, he's going to ask me how I know this, and I don't want to bring that rabbit out of the hat, and I don't want that rabbit out of the hat in Pincher Creek, and all of that stuff that came up. My Jesus H. Christ. So the deal I made with God back in my deal-making days was, I will do this when it hits me in the face and I can't turn away, but I'm never going to look for it. Okay, God? I'm never going to put up a sign. I'm never going to put out a shingle. I'm never going to be standing in front of 50-odd people telling them what beautiful lights they are. That's never going to happen, God. I'm going to have a travel agency executive sign, manager of, over my desk, lots of money and lots of travel. And if I can stop somebody from having an accident they're not supposed to have, and I'm there on the spot, I'll stop it, because that's meant to be. But I'm not going looking for it. God said, yeah, gotcha. Gotcha. Knock, knock. Who's there? Gotcha. So I sent an email. I wrote this really nice, kind of not too flowery, not too soppy email. Dear Frank, so sorry to hear of Debbie's passing. I know that in some way it's a relief because your whole family was suffering for such a long time. If there's anything I can ever do to be of assistance, or you want to travel back to the UK, I'm back in Calgary, give me a call. I will be coming to the funeral. God bless you and keep you. Say hi to the kids. Because the kids were all in my travel club back when I had an agency in Pincher Creek. So, send it off. I'm feeling good. Phone rings. It's Frank's best friend, Ron Knight. In comes the Knight. He says to me, Donna, I have some very bad news to tell you. Are you sitting down? I said, yes, I'm sitting down. He said, Debbie's gone. I said, I know. He said, who told you? I said, oh, an acquaintance. An acquaintance. I got the news. He said, no, seriously, who told you? Because Frank gave me the list. This is an anal person. Frank gave me the list to call everybody that was anybody on the list. And I'm calling you, so who told you? Because I haven't called you. I said, it doesn't matter, Ron, let it go. Just let it go. I know, and I'll be at the funeral. So I went to the funeral, and I stayed at the very back, and my ex-partner went with me because we were still decent friends, decent enough friends. And some other friends went. We all went together and went back to Pincher Creek and celebrated the transition in a wonderful way. And then I was leaving. And in Pincher Creek, when somebody dies and you're in the church and you're a deacon in the church and you're all of these special things to the community, you don't get to get on with your life very fast. Life grinds to a halt as you know it. And so while you've been dealing with it for 14 years and you've been in Jesus H. Christ land for 4 years and you've gone through all this trauma and you and your wife have said all of your goodbyes and everything and you've had all of the long talks and all of the things that you need to know and tell each other before she goes, you don't get to get on with your life because you live there. And you're going to be there for a few years, and then one day the minister is going to introduce you to a suitable divorcee, or better yet, a widow. And you get to get on with your life under the auspices of the church or the community in that manner that they deem is appropriate for you in your situation. So we have a few people that have been widowed in Pincher Creek, and we all gather together in Calgary, and so we decide to invite Frank into the group. So at the funeral, I'm thinking, you know, I'll tell him about the group if he ever wants to come up to Calgary and just hang out and just be Frank and not Frank in mourning for 2 years. He can just come to Calgary and hang out with us all and be Frank. And then I'm thinking, no, I'm trying to make another God deal here. And I say, oh, no, I really don't feel like doing this, so I'll just say, condolences and leave. So I walk into the room, and I'm over here, and I'm standing at the back of the room with my ex-partner and the best friend, Ron, who wanted to know who told me, was still trying to figure it out. And he says to me, oh, here comes Frank. And I went, what? And Frank went straight to me, threw his arms around me and said, Debbie told me you'd be here. And I said, she did. And he said, yeah, it's so funny. I had a dream, and she said that you were going to be here and that there was something you had to tell me, that you tried to tell me, but it didn't work. Gotcha, 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 gotcha. So I said, yeah, it's about the boots. He goes, what? I said, the rubber boots. And he said, what rubber boots? I said, Debbie had a little pair of rubber gardening boots. They're blue. They've got little flowers on them. They're all different colors. They're a very English thing that Debbie would wear. And they weren't popular then. They are now. They're in the shed, but I think the shed's in England. And he said, why would she leave her boots in England? I said, I don't know. That's your problem. I'm just the messenger. Don't kill the messenger. So he says, okay, right. We put that on the back shelf. I give him a hug. I go on with my life. And he said, was there anything else you wanted to say to me? And I went, nope, got nothing. He said, really? Because Debbie said that you were going to get me out of hell. And I went, he said, in the dream. I said, right. Okay, well, Debbie did come to me about the boots. And hell, I don't know what that's about. I really, really don't. That's your stick. You deal with it. But here's the deal. If you ever need to get out of Pincher Creek and just want to go for a drink and have a dance, Rosie's there. We got a good group of friends, men and women. We just hang out, no obligations, no nothing. It's just fun and companionship, and we have dinners, and sometimes we go to the Legion and we have a dance, and sometimes we go to the folk festival together, whatever. If you're ever up for it, give me a call. You can stay at Rosie's place, you can stay at my place, no problem. He said, okay. I didn't think I'd hear from him ever again. 2 months go by, the phone rings. Hi, Donna, it's Frank. It's Frank. I said, Frank who? He said, Fairhurst. I went, oh, hi, Frank, how are you doing? He said, I'm doing good. He said, I came by the office the other day, but you weren't there. I said, oh, yeah. He said, I had to go get Debbie's ashes and bring them back, and we're going to do the interment and everything. And I was wondering if you wanted to come down. And I said, no, I don't. I don't do that. I don't do ashes. But go for it. Have a great time. Gotcha. I had to do my mom's, and I said I was never doing it again. So I heard all about it. And then he phoned me up and he said, it's Frank again. I said, yeah, Frank, good. Now my best friend Rosie, who is the other alternative accommodation, has picked this day, this moment to get pneumonia and go into the hospital. And Frank says to me, I thought I'd come up and maybe we'd go out for dinner, have a drink. I said, okay. You can stay at Rosie's because I'm kind of busy this weekend. I'm working Friday and Saturday morning, but I can get together with you guys, meet you at the club on Saturday night. He said, well, I just called Rosie's place. There's no answer. So I thought I'd call you. I said, yeah, okay, as long as you know I'm working, you can stay in the guest room. He said, I need to bring my dog. Okay, this dog is 15 years old. She's geriatric. She's blind. She's deaf. She doesn't eat. She takes $400 worth of medication. And the minute she walked into my door, she shit on my Persian carpet. And then she went and did it in every other room of my elegant 27th story condo. I was not a happy person. But Frank was newly widowed, and he was feeling the pain of living in Pincher Creek. And I had offered to be a mentor. So I said, okay, let's clean this up. And he said, you know, I'm going to be coming back and forth, so how about just once every 6 months I send your rug out whenever I stay with you to get it steam cleaned or bring. So I said, yeah, it's fine, it's okay. We'll do that. And so the relationship evolved, and he said, you know, somebody told me that you were psychic, and I know that you are because you told me about the boots. So what's up with that? So we had a long late night conversations about this, and then I decided to introduce him to his future wife, Sherry, who was a biologist and a scientist and a totally credible black and white person who really would dig Frank and he would dig her. And she was blonde and blue-eyed and tiny and fairly British without being British. And so we set him up, Rosie and I, the other widow. And he didn't like it, but he went along with it for a while. And then one day he said, Donna, I know what you and Rosie are doing and it's not on. Stop right now. I'm not interested. I'm interested in you, and I would like to see how you feel about that. And I was drinking hot coffee that he had made at the time, and I spit it all over him. And I told him it was a ridiculous suggestion, and I was not his type. And he said, how in the hell would you know what my type is? You don't know anything about me. Fair enough. Game on. I don't. But I know what Debbie told. Oh, that was Debbie's Frank, right? Not Frank's Frank. I was seeing him through somebody else's eyes, who I knew very well. But I wasn't seeing him as he was, who he was. And we do that all the time. We see somebody that we love, or we have the potential to love, or we hate, or we have the potential to hate through somebody else's eyes.